going. Bienvenue, welcome to another show. This is the Modern Sales Madness. This is the first one of 2026. Of course, I have with me my trusty companion, David Treacle Cherney of Treacle. And also, I have with us our trusty companion, Maya. Maya, say hello to the good folk.
Hey, everyone. Happy New Year.
Great. So, David, today's topic is why pipelines lie. And before we bring you in, Maya, I just want to get an overview from David of what exactly this topic's about and why we're talking about it.
So, why pipelines lie. So I hear all of the time, you probably heard it yourself, business owners, particularly SME owners, this is what they're saying all the time. The pipeline's healthy, like they've got loads going on, and something I'm sure is bound to land, and then nothing. And I have a look at it, and of course there's a whole pile of junk in the pipeline, and it's not because they're not working hard at it. It's not because the CRM's wrong or the spreadsheet's not set up properly. It's actually because pipelines quietly kind of fill up with things that we want to be true. Nice conversations, polite interest, vague referrals, stuff that feels good to log, but it was never really likely to close. So in this episode, we're going to talk about why pipelines lie, where that starts, why the objections that show up at the end are, often just the truth, really, from the beginning, turning up late. And if you don't deal with all of that early, you end up fighting, those harder battles later on with those objections. So activity gets mistaken for progress. Optimism replaces evidence, and that happens very early on. So I suppose my question would, Gareth, I'll ask you first to reflect on that. I mean, from your perspective on LinkedIn, and in your marketing, where do you see people confusing interest or engagement with, that proper buying intent?
I'm also going to mix it up with my default position, which is because I'm an autistic human. I see things from a more black and white perspective, and I've had to teach myself, and it's been a hard lesson to learn. Words often mean something different when they're face to face than when they're written down, and particularly on messaging. If I can use LinkedIn, a classic message of, yes, it's great to have you in my network. I'm sure we're going to get on famously. Let's communicate. That does not mean in any way that it should be part of your pipeline. It just means that they've opened the door to further communication. It means nothing more than that. Yet that's often read as, they're obviously they're teeing themselves up to be in a prime position to buy my Okie Kokie 2000. Well, it doesn't mean that at all. It's just almost it's a bit like saying, how are you? We're not really that interested in how people are, but we say it reflexively because it's commonly agreed that that's the interaction you normally have. And the normal interaction on LinkedIn is, I'd love you to be part of my network. I'm really glad you're here. And yes, I'm sure in part that's true, but it doesn't, the meaning has changed. I think when LinkedIn first started and people were using it for its original purpose, which is a glorified job board with some method of trying to tee up relationships that might turn into jobs or job opportunities, I think the way in which people dealt with it would they say, I'd really like to be part of my network, and that would then fill you with hope that being part of their network might lead to a potential job. These days, it's just a bit like saying how are you. It's not, you're not really that interested that they're there, but being part of the network now is seen as a method of expanding your base and giving you more ability to spread your word.
So that is a good description of a similar sort of phenomenon. And job hunting is a bit like selling. You're just selling yourself.
But it is selling. It is
where you know, the language that we might use, or the hope actually that we might have, you know, that makes us sort of confuse what seems like interest or seems like actual intent, a buying intent. So let's see what Maya thinks. I mean, Maya, my question to you would be, if the data going into a pipeline is optimistic or vague, how reliable can any prediction really be?
Not very. If the inputs are garbage, the outputs will be garbage. Period. That's GIGO. Garbage in, garbage out.
So yeah, go on.
Carry on, please, Maya.
Not. Right.
Say that last sentence again, please, Maya.
Sorry, that wasn't me, David. My name's Maya.
So,
and about your question.
Yep, keep going.
I just got cut out there.
Go, keep going.
Oh, got it. Back now.
Yep.
Thanks. As I was saying, if the data going into a pipeline is optimistic or vague, how reliable can any prediction really be? Not very. Garbage in, garbage out. GIGO.
Yeah,
people think of as.
But I think it's all about what tests you apply to that so-called pipeline and what threshold you put on it. That is from the white noise chitter chatter that is the default. I was certainly on LinkedIn. Between that and real demonstrable intent.
Exactly. It's not about eliminating all positive signals. It's about having a rigorous standard for what actually counts as pipeline data versus wishful thinking.
Yeah,
David,
most pipelines do tend to fill up with hope rather than with deals. And you know that means that later on down the line, I talk about objection handling quite a bit, but you know, most objections were always there. They just weren't spoken. And that's because the early conversations were weak. You know, so you're basically pushing that risk to the end of the sales cycle. So, I mean, Gareth, you've got loads of experience over many years of being on the coalface, and you obviously run your own business, and you're selling your stuff as well. What sort of late stage objections do you see